today. But Dale Finucane calling it quits yesterday. The concerning fact of the reason for retiring is 7 HIAs, positive HIAs, or failed HIAs since 2019 for Dale Finucane. And the latest one also included a fractured eye socket. So Dale Finucane's finished. Now, among his talents, Brandy, before you tell us about his qualities as a man in camp with Origin, he's singing. So Dale Finucane there, it's so much so that the NRL used him in season launches and Dally M Awards and things like that. He ended up on stage. This was just a little side hustle he had going, just playing around the lounge room.
Who would have known?
Did he bring the guitar in camp as well?
He did. He did a couple of times. Not religiously, but I remember one time he brought the guitar in. Actually, he brought the guitar into camp when we were in lockdown, which was handy. Right. 21, I think, were locked up in Kingscliff for a month, basically.
So he performed every night, did he? It was Dale Finucane every night just performing.
Yes, yeah. And so he's got that, he's got a very distinct voice, hasn't he? So it's almost Rod Stewart lines, very, very husky voice.
Well, the first time he posted on social media, it blew us away. He did Shallow, remember, from Star Is Born?
Was that at the Dally M's?
No. He did his own social media clip. He went on his own Instagram account, and suddenly the world was introduced to Dale Finucane. He's a little bit Dale Finucane doing his thing. Man, I'm thinking, rugby league is just part of his journey. I mean, Dale Finucane, I'm taking him to Vegas next year. There you go.
Yeah, but if you're going to pick a player,
Dale Finucane at the Sphere.
Yeah. Is there any other NRL players that we've heard sing? Like
Brian Tottle and Jerome. They are fantastic. They've got sweet voices, angelic almost. Give the rap that you gave earlier. I thought it was fantastic. You gave us a little pull back the curtains on Dale Finucane in camp. This is the man. This is the professional footballer, and then we'll talk about the contrast in professional football in just a moment. But Dale Finucane, when he came to Origin camp.
When you're talking about professionalism, Vossi, there is different levels of it. But Dale Finucane was right at the top. When you're talking about having a player involved in a team that is just great for the team, and you know that what he does will rub off on the rest of them, that's Dale Finucane. During those Origin years that I was involved, like Dale was at times nearly the first picked. And he became a very important cog during those early years. So, and because there was a lot of younger players, and Dale hadn't played Origin either, so Dale was new to it during that period. And I think we had a caller say he's universally admired, and that's not just from fans. And I think everyone that watches footy, whether have been a Storm, Dogs, or Sharks supporter over the years, you're a fan of the way Dale Finucane plays, because it's 100 miles an hour. He wasn't a dirty player, but he was hard, and the professionalism and what he'd bring to each training session, it's almost irreplaceable. And that's the effect that he had, and that's why Craig Fitzgibbon, who was involved in Origin during the period when Dale Finucane was part of the team, went out and grabbed Dale Finucane and signed him to a 4-year deal, because he knew from Origin how important Dale Finucane was to a team.
Well, it's a great rap for Dale Finucane. If you are listening, mate, cheers. Thank you, mate, you've had a wonderful career, but you've still got plenty to offer the game, as well as performing at the Sphere in Vegas. Now, Fletch has got in on the text. He's come in on 0457736736. Greg Marju from the Knights is amazing, and he's on the Matty John show this Thursday. Greg Marju will be performing, so we might have a whole...
That's tomorrow.
Whole performance at the Sphere. Rugby league new faces, like back in the day, could be at the Sphere for one night only when we go over there next year, start of next year. Peter V'landys could host it. He could be the host, like the Gong, Bernard King type.
Vossi, we're going to give away a Signet Boost power bank throughout the show, and we'll also give away a $100 Kickin' In voucher kicking in fantastic restaurants right across Sydney. All you need to do is follow us at Vossi Brandy SEN.
What about
That's
Spud
our
on
handle.
guitar? What about Spud on guitar? There's another one. Brandy, what about Spud? I understand he only plays Wild Thing, but he plays more than Wild Thing.
Exactly.
He doesn't just have one
Limited,
song.
but good. But good at it.
Kids
Good
can
at
play
Wild
Wild Thing at 7. Yeah. Come on,
Spud
Spud plays more
Spud
than
can
that.
do the piano or the guitar, Wild Thing. He's multiple instruments, Spud.
All right, so
Who
now
was
we've
the
got
little
the
halfback
Sphere
from
in
North Sydney?
Vegas.
Who was the
Jason
little halfback?
Martin, take me to
Jason
the top.
Martin, that's
we
it.
get Jason Martin. We bring him back
Yep.
weekend at Bernie's. Wheel him out. We've got Spud doing Wild
Yep.
Thing.
Yep.
Then we'll give Brian Toto doing a bit R&B, and then we'll build up to Greg Marju, who I haven't heard, but they're saying he's great. And then we finish
and
with
Dale
Brush Home with Dale Finucane at the Sphere. The Americans.
What a lineup.
That's it. Come and see them all. We'll see if David Riccio can add to that. No, but you can pay tribute to Dale Finucane. Plenty have been doing that. Guys, firstly, what a player Finucane was, and he will be missed. I was just wondering, does he... Oh, now we've got a salary cap question. Didn't know it was going to be maths.
It had to
I
come.
was just wondering, does his money now become available for the Cronulla to spend on the cap? Cronulla really need to make sure they keep Jack Williams, and this may help keep him, says Matt, medically retired. He did
Which
go out
means
of his way to say that.
Yeah, which means it will be the money will be freed up.
For this year.
That's my understanding. Oh,
But he had 2 more years to go.
yeah.
No, they couldn't have all this year because he's
already been
played some
paid.
games.
Paid
Since last November.
November, exactly. So he's received half his money this year, Bossy, but I'm pretty sure the rest of it, medically retired, will be free. Which is what Manly were thinking. Now that the news on Josh Schuster is a little bit different to what it was earlier in the week. Josh Schuster apparently now getting $1 million payout from Manly.
Ooh, wow.
That will be carried through on their cap.
Alrighty, this is Breakfast with Vossi and Brandy on a Wednesday morning, brought to you by Bryden's Lawyers. Best legal advice going. We will have Lee Hedgipen tell us on the show later where we will be talking the Braden Trindle situation from a legal point of view. But right now, David Riccio.
And now on Breakfast with Vossi and Brandy, the back page with David Riccio.
Morning, David.
Hey, good
what a
morning,
day.
boys.
Yeah, what a day for the Sharks yesterday.
Yeah, certainly high in emotion on a number of fronts, guys. It was never a dull day in the great game of rugby league. And to Vossi's point, I don't think anyone saw Dale Finucane's announcement coming yesterday. It was held with probably the level of respect and professionalism of which Dale's carried his entire career by the Sharks, going through a pretty stringent process with Dale to get to yesterday's point in time where he announced that after 251 first-grade games, he was hanging up the boots on the grounds of, numerous meetings and seeking counsel from medical opinion, and that after, too many head knocks, it wasn't worth the risk of playing on again. I really got a sense that this has happened swiftly, guys, and even at yesterday's press conference when Dale was talking, it was clear that it hadn't hit him yet, that it was all over. He spoke about only phoning his parents last Thursday prior to Sunday's game that he'd played his last game, and there was a genuine shock still in the way Dale was talking that he will no longer be playing the great game.
And so that was the uplifting story from the Sharks yesterday. Just before we move on to the story that wasn't great, your understanding of the cap money, medically retired, money free.
Yeah, look, I had these conversations with Sharks officials down at the press conference yesterday because that's exactly where the question always goes next. In relation to what happens next for the salary cap of the Sharks. And I've got to say, such was the swiftness of this decision that the Sharks haven't even really got to that point in sitting down with the NRL to work out what this year means. It's pretty clear that on the basis of a medical retirement, the Sharks will have Dale Finucane's money to spend next year. He only had next year to run, guys, 2025. And my understanding is that salary came back a fair bit from what the first 3 years of that deal was. to be sitting in and around the 300, 350,000 mark next year. So the Sharks will have that to spend now on the basis of Dale's retirement. But it's a matter of what this year looks like and whether they can pro-rata whatever is left remaining in the months or remaining on Dale's salary and contract this year. So a little bit that will be worked out, but there will be some money to spend. And clearly the Sharks need it to retain the player they most want to retain, and that is Jack Williams, who's just been a mainstay of the Cronulla pack. He's currently off contract. And it would have been tight, guys. I actually don't know how they were going to keep Jack Williams. I spoke with him on the weekend, did a story with him for the Sunday Telly, and you won't hear a more passionate person that wants to remain at the Sharks. So I think this Finucane retirement will definitely aid the possibility of Jack Williams remaining at the Sharks.
All right, let's go over the drama at the Sharks yesterday. Is everything that needs to be known of the Braden Trindle case being printed today, that it was house party of teammate Toby Rudolph, who's not drinking at the moment, party ends at midnight, is pulled over for a random breath test 9:40 a.m. on Monday, on the way to the recovery session for the first grade side.
Yeah.
We hear the alcohol reading 0.125, test positive to an illicit substance, and also had a suspended or no license. No license is suspended. A failure to register, unregistered license. So, is that all of it? Is anything more going to come out?
Yeah, my understanding is that Braden Trindle's been open and honest from the outset here in relation to the incident, both failing the roadside alcohol and drug test. He communicated from the roadside when it was unfolding to the Sharks officials. And at that point, they also asked questions in relation to other players. And it's my understanding that there are no other players involved in this. And it is Trindle's incident and an incident alone. It ticks every box of being idiotic, guys. It really does. And it's difficult to comprehend how, for everything that's going smooth sailing down at the Sharks, how Trindle could fall down this trap.
David, he's just locked in. Like he's just, it's taken him a fair while to get into first grade, to become a regular. He's been coming off the bench, and last year with the departure of Matt Moylan, he becomes the number 6. He does that this year, and his form's been great. So he's almost just throwing it away. Yeah,
I'll say this, guys. Through that process where Matt Moylan was coming to the back end of his career, and Braden Trindle hadn't really marked himself as a weekly first grader as yet. He'd been plying his trade in the New South Wales Cup. There had been numerous 5'8" and halfbacks shopped to the Sharks, and Sharks coach Craig Fitzgibbon palmed those away and said, no, we've got a good one in the ranks that I want to stick with and give time for. And I'm just wondering if Braden Trindle realises how fortunate he is that his head coach could have easily gone another way, but backed Trindle to make it in first grade. And what unfolded, in the last 48 hours, I see it as an absolute kick in the teeth to Sharks coach Craig Fitzgibbon.
That's well put. That is well put.
And the cultural standards of which he implements down at the Sharks. Yeah. And to be fair, guys, this is probably the first off-field misdemeanor we've heard at the Sharks since Fitzgibbon became head coach. And I just think it's a kick in the teeth of which I can only hope is a major the turning point in Braden Trindle's career, if indeed he gets that second opportunity.
Yeah, if he gets a second opportunity. So just quickly on that one, the drink driving is one thing. If this second sample comes back positive, it's been reported the illicit substance was cocaine. Now, where does that sit with the NRL? So this is an AWADA test. It's a test done where it will be alleged that he has taken cocaine. Now, how does the NRL deal with this? Now, Ben Barber, it was pointed out to me yesterday, Ben Barber after the grand final tested positive. He never played NRL again, did he?
Yeah,
Like,
the two differences there, Vossi, was that was an in-house test there for
Right.
Barber, and of which becomes a part of the strike policy that currently is the process with the NRL. If it does come back positive, and I'm spitballing here, but
Yes.
with background too, if Trindle's illicit drug test comes back positive, I dare say he will be given a strike against his name by the NRL, given that it's been officiated by the police. That remains to be seen. I believe it will just be part of whatever unfolds next for Braden Trindle, as far as any suspension is concerned.
that is if he hasn't had any other
seen-
strikes. We're not to know. We're not to know. And I'm
right.
absolutely not
No,
saying this is a
nobody
definite.
knows.
But no one would know if he's had a previous strike. If he has any history here, no one would know.
Yep. No, that's right. That's right. I think the situation here too, guys, is we can only go on most previous cases. Corey Harawira-Naira went mid-range drink driving in the off-season, received 2-match suspension and a 10 grand fine. Luciano Lua, his issue he wasn't open and honest about his infringement and received a several-week penalty. So we can only go on most previous cases, and that's where I believe Trindle will probably sit in that 2 to 6 week bracket. At the same time, guys, I felt it was interesting yesterday where the terminology of the Sharks press release doesn't say that Braden Trindle has stood down, and it is the fact that he has quote unquote decided to take time away from training and playing currently the Sharks, and I think that's interesting. To the point where I believe Trindle's actually going to get some help here, because for everything I said at the start, that's someone that does need help. The fact that he went down, the boxes he ticked in this misdemeanor says that there could be a deeper issue and that he does need help.
Well, then the perception of people now listening to that, David, would be, well, this isn't his first time. That's what people would be thinking, and this is what you have when you have this strikes policy, people tongues wagging, people are left to guess. So Braden Trindle has certainly done himself no favours.
Just on that, Vossi, and this has been a big talking point within the game for a number of years now, and I'm a firm believer it should be declared, not declared publicly, but certainly within the 17 clubs on when a player does have strikes against their name, because when they are recruiting, i.e. the Manly Seagulls attempting to recruit a player from St George Illawarra, they do not know whether they are recruiting a player with a strike against their name and at what risk that comes with, both from a salary cap point of view, from the enormous impact it has on your football club from a sponsorship point of view, the negative press that comes with the potential of a second strike, of which the buying club really had no idea that the player had already gone rogue in a previous case. So
that doesn't sound
that's
right.
where there's been a lot of discussion about making it public on when players have had a strike against their name.
Well, certainly the information should be passed on to the club that's buying the player.
Absolutely.
And the NRL would have that advice. Just to finish, just on the text, I can't disagree with this text from Julian. Hey, boys, did Trindle have any other choice than to be open and honest about his incident? Just plain stupid, I'm afraid. Well, that's right. Been pulled over by police. He's not going to cover it up. He's suddenly taken off to the police station.
I'll only say that players have in the past. That's the only difference.
That's true.
Yeah,
in the case
Luciano.
Leilua. Yeah, fair point. David, have a great day at the Telegraph there on Wednesday. Hump day for some, but not for SEN or the Telegraph.
Hey, guys, who knows what comes today? But in the meantime, go well.
Thanks,
nicely
Dave.
done. A nice little build-up there. I could see Dave as the warm-up guy in the Sphere in my Vegas extravaganza. I think Dave could do the warm-up up on stage.
I think you've overstepped. I don't know if Dave's doing the warm-up.
Riccio. Hey, You breastfeeding a baby? Get out! You know, Riccio up on stage. It'd be controversial. That'd be Riccio.
Yeah.
Then he'd strip the gear off.
Yeah. We need
Just
to go
go
to a
nude.
break.
All right, let's go to break.